Are you thinking of running a crowdfunding campaign? Don't do any of these 5 mistakes. Hello, I'm Adrià Tarrida, crowdfunding consultant. Welcome to my channel. Today we will talk about the 5 most common mistakes that people do when running a crowdfunding campaign. This comes from my experience as a crowdfunding consultant and of running a couple of projects myself and of assessing and analyzing hundreds of other campaigns. So keep on watching and you'll see the 5 mistakes you don't want to make. So number 1, it's setting an objective that is too high. This is by far, I think, the most common mistake, and people set objectives and they get partly there but not quite there, right? So it's a mistake because you want to, for people that land into your page, to be nearly funded or overfunding already. That's the thing that gives you credibility as a creator, and people will want to back a winning campaign in a sense, right? So how to solve this mistake is to put an objective as low as possible, not lower. You don't want to be losing money on your crowdfunding campaign, and more of it later. And then build a community that leads you there, gets you as far as possible to that funding objective, or overfunding as soon as possible. And this leads me to mistake number 2, launching with a small community, a far too small community. Again, you want to get to that objective as soon as possible, and people launch before they're ready. They launch before having a big community. So spend some time building a community if you don't have one already. And your best bet is email marketing. So if you have a following on Facebook or following on any social media, bring them to your website and make sure that they are signing up to hear from you as soon as you launch. And warm these people up to the launch date. Create a bit of a hype if you want. It's not any email list that will work for you, okay? It has to be an email list specifically for that crowdfunding campaign. If you have other email lists, filter them, send them to a landing page saying, look, I'm trying to launch this new campaign. Would you back me up as soon as I launch? And you can offer perhaps some perks, some early bird rewards or some things that you will not get if you are not part of that list. That's a great way of incentivizing people to sign up to that list. Number 3, not considering all the costs of running a crowdfunding campaign. There are 3 types of costs. There are some costs, number 1, that you will have to pay upfront. For example, if you're outsourcing your video, if you're outsourcing your copywriting, your design, your photography, consultants, etc., an accountant maybe, all those costs will be upfront before the campaign. You will have to pay them there and there. There are some costs that come after the campaign. For example, the platform fees, if you're doing some rewards, all the manufacturing of the rewards or the shipping of the rewards from wherever you're manufacturing to the hands of the backers. And there are some costs as well, perhaps legal fees. If you're doing an equity-based campaign, you will need a lawyer to help you out formalizing that equity campaign. So my advice here is for you to create a really nice Excel spreadsheet with all of the costs. If you have different levels of rewards, putting each one of the levels of rewards separately because they might have different costs, and making sure that you do not losing money on any of those rewards. Mistake number 4, underestimating the time it will take for you to execute the campaign. Doing a crowdfunding campaign will take a lot of time, okay? It's not a trivial thing. You just put your campaign on Kickstarter and people will come. There's a lot of tasks that you will need to be executing, and it takes a lot of time. My best advice on this side is to read the articles I will leave below. I have an article specifically on rewards-based campaigns, on the typical timeline and the tasks that are there, and another one for equity-based campaigns. Read that one. Make sure that you have the time. You have probably to run your business, or maybe you have another job on the side that you need to keep doing. So don't underestimate the time. You will need to spend a lot of time, invest quite a lot of time in your equity campaign. Finally, number 5, one that's close to my heart. My background is marketing, and marketing is all about repetition of messages, okay? before people understand a message that you're sending, you probably will need to repeat it 4, 5, 6 times. And the problem is that if you are not consistent with the message that you're sending, people will get confused, that message will not sink in. So choose only 2 or 3 messages that you want to be talking about and stick to them. Repeat them again and again, perhaps in slightly different ways, but repeat them again and again. So maybe some of the features of your product, the main feature of your product probably, and the sustainability of your product, for example. Those 2 messages, choose those 2 and repeat them again and again. So that's it for today. As I said, a very short video just to make you avoid those 5 mistakes you don't want to make them. See you again soon in this channel. Bye until then.